Today, we address the possibility of the Carolina Hurricanes introducing a ring of honor inside PNC Arena somewhere.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I am your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And as always, you can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And as I said, today we'll be introducing the idea of the Carolina Hurricanes having a ring of honor or a walk of honor. This idea comes from Kames Home Ice on Twitter. I saw this over the weekend. I'm like, that's a good idea for an episode. And they so graciously allowed me to use this as an episode. So thank you very much for letting me use this topic. And so getting into first off, should they do it? Yes. I think that's a pretty easy thing because there are a lot of guys throughout the Hurricanes history. And then, you can even look at, coaching staff and broadcasters, and which we'll talk more about those later, of folks that should be, memorialized for the Hurricanes, but not necessarily to the point of retiring their number. And I really do think, this is something that the Hurricanes should look at doing. They're heading into their 25th anniversary season. They've got a lot of history. And again, you can't retire every single number. And there's not a whole lot of guys left that you would retire their number. There's a few, and we'll address those later. If you've been around for a long time, I know we've had an influx of new listeners as of late. There's still a handful of guys that I think should have their number up in the rafters, and we'll talk more about those later. But yeah, I really think this is something that the Hurricanes should look at implementing. They are obviously working at remodeling PNC Arena, and this is going to be a multi-year thing of them doing that. It's not going to be something that's done in a week or whatever. So, they're taking this massive remodel and renovation thing, and I think this would be a good time to maybe put in something like that, or at least get plans in motion for it. Now, this is something I've kind of struggled with trying to figure out where it would go, because there's a few options. You look across the street there to NC State, there at that entrance facing the South Plaza, and they have, a lot of, pictures and bios and whatnot of former NC State players, like Phillip Rivers and so many others. You could do something like that outside. I think that would be cool. That would open it up a lot more as far as guys you could add in. You're not going to be limited to the inside of it, or the inside of the building. So there's that. But then, where do you put it? I originally thought they're in that South Plaza right there in front of the box office. But you look at whenever the Hurricanes do stuff, whether it's Carnival, the 5K, or opening night stuff, or whatever, that's where they tend to do a lot of stuff. They took out those trees years and years ago, and now they kind of use that as almost like an event space or something like that. So I don't necessarily know if they'd want to do it there. You could maybe some of the other entrances and whatnot, you can maybe do something there. But you could also do it kind of on the sidewalk around the arena. But again, I'm not really sure. South Plaza would be the best space for it. But again, the way they tend to use that area, it makes me a little hesitant on that. And then, you look on the inside. I think if you're going to do it inside, it needs to be on that first floor where everybody's going to be. So everybody can walk through it and acknowledge it and appreciate it. And, you could kind of block off, a section of it. And, you could like put a sign or whatever, Hurricanes Walk of Honor, Ring of Honor, or whatever you want to do. And you could do that and have pictures and stories and whatnot on the walls and the pillars and all that stuff. I think you're kind of the best spot there on that first level would be kind of where Bally Sports does their stuff there in the concourse. I think that area would be the best. My only thing there is, hey, keep in mind you're going to be adding stuff to this as the years go on. Not necessarily, every offseason or anything like that, no. But, there's going to be a lot of stuff, getting added. Next 5 years, you're probably going to add something in there. So, next 10 years, you're going to be adding stuff. So, eventually, you're going to have to be extending this down. And that is something there that is a question mark and a concern, but not necessarily a big one. Obviously can be done, but it's one of those things. What are they gonna do? Because I don't really think they're gonna be able to do something there like in the actual arena part of it. I'm not saying they can't, but I think that honestly may be the least likely because where are you going to put it? That's the thing. Where would you put it in the actual arena? I just don't know where it would go there. You look at all of the NC State banners, that takes up a lot of room. And, the Carolina Hurricanes are adding more and more banners for themselves. They just added 2 division championships banners. Gotta figure, probably going to be more of those. Then you get your conference championships. Then you get your Stanley Cup championship banners. All these other stuff that can be added in there. And then you have an All-Star game banner. Probably going to host another All-Star game before too long, especially after PNC Arena renovations get done. So as far as where it is going to go, that is really the hardest decision for me of where it would go. I feel at the end of the day, probably sectioning off part of the first concourse would be the best decision. And, I think that would be what they would go with of, kind of using part of the first concourse or whatever for something like that to honor those players. And, now it's, who goes in. Who goes into that? And we will get into that right after this quick break. Our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because I have stomach issues and I was tired of dealing with those and having to search out different pills and vitamins to help me out with that. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food-based sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day off right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things. And it's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. AG1 contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything, while still tasting good. It supports better sleep quality and recovery, supports mental clarity and alertness. It's one of the things with the best things. Athletic Greens uses the best based products based with the latest science with constant product iterations, and third-party testing. It costs you less than $1 or less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's cheaper than getting all of the different supplements yourself. You're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. It's recommended by professional athletes and trusted by leading health experts such as Tim Ferriss and Michael Gervais. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Now, who would go in this Carolina Hurricanes Ring of Honor or Walk of Honor, whatever we want to call it? I think ultimately that'll depend on where it goes. But yeah, there's definitely several guys that I think could go in here. I think first off, the guys that have their number retired, they're obviously going to be in here as well. Rod Brind'amour, Ron Francis, Glenn Wesley. Those guys are obviously going to be in it somewhere. Same with guys that will have their number retired some other time later on down the road. Guys like, at least in my personal opinion, guys that have hung it up or are about to hang it up, Justin Williams, Cam Ward, and Eric Stahl. Those will be guys that I think they should have their number retired, and they would be in the Hurricanes Walk of Honor as well. And again, we look at, other guys that I think, would be, later on down the road. I think, big name that comes to mind, obviously David Ayers, he'd be in there. He was, it was one game, but it was a hell of a performance there, and the Carolina Hurricanes love to remember that, and the fans love that, so obviously he would be in there. And then you look at some of the other longtime Hurricanes, guy that comes to mind recently, in recent memory, Justin Faulk. He's obviously not a number retired kind of guy, but he spent a long time here, and he was a guy that a lot of fans loved. Yes, people were very critical of him, and he wasn't a perfect player by any means, but he was a big part of the Hurricanes for a long time. So I think he would be put in there. Same with Jeff Skinner, honestly. He's definitely not a number retired kind of guy, but again, he was here for a very long time and a big part of the organization for a long time. And I think that he would probably be in there some form or fashion. You go to these games, you still see Skinner jerseys, you still see Faulk jerseys. These are guys that got folks into hockey. So I think they should be in there as well. You also look at some of the older guys like Eric Cole and guys like that. You could really go back to some of the really early days of the franchise, of some of the, like when they first moved here, when they're in Greensboro. You could put a lot of those guys on the team as well. Arturas Urbe, I think he's a guy that goes in there. Again, maybe not necessarily a number retired kind of guy, at least for the Hurricanes. But I think he's a guy, you put him in there. You look on the coaching side of things. I think Peter Laviolette, I definitely think he goes in there. He's the one that got us to the Stanley Cup and won us the Stanley Cup. Obviously, Paul Maurice got us to one before then, but we lost. And then you could maybe make a case for Paul Maurice as well. I personally probably wouldn't put him in there, but a case probably could be made for him. He's the longest serving head coach in franchise history. He goes back to the Hartford days, and in those first few years with the Hurricanes, and he came back as well. So, you can make a case for him, and, the list is going to be one that goes on. You look at guys that are currently playing, I think, maybe Dougie Hamilton, Niederreiter, whenever they eventually hang it up. I think, those are going to be guys you maybe look at putting in there. They're vital to the turnaround of this team. And, they're not here anymore, but they were really big in that. And, again, the list really just goes on with some of these guys. And I think it's something that the Hurricanes really need to look into, of whether or not they want to do this. I personally think it'd be a really good idea for them to do something like this. And you also look at guys down the road that maybe aren't even in the NHL yet. Maybe they're guys that you put in 15 years from now, and guys that aren't even playing with the Hurricanes yet, but then play an integral part of the team going on a run or whatever. And I really think this is something the Hurricanes should do, because again, it's the 25th season, and then you also look at the Stadium Series. This is probably going to be something that they want to memorialize in some form or fashion. And I think having a little part in that walk would be cool for this. And then I mentioned broadcasters. John Forsland, get him in there. Yeah, he is absolutely one that needs to be in there. Obviously, the Hurricanes have done stuff for him in the past, but he's the voice of the Hurricanes, and he's in Seattle now, but he's still he's synonymous with Hurricanes broadcast. Him and Trip Tracy, they're what you think of when you watch Hurricanes hockey on TV. And Mike Maniscalco does a great job. And, as time goes on, we'll obviously get more and more used to him being the play-by-play guy. But, John Forsland, he's like Paul Maurice. He was with them when they're in Hartford. He was with them when they moved to Raleigh and called decades worth of games for the team. So, he's a guy that would go in there as well. And I really hope this is something the Hurricanes look into doing. And again, I think now is the perfect time to be doing this with those renovations that are going on at PNC Arena. Because now, you're already working on stuff. You just go ahead and put it on up. And again, where it goes, I'm not really sure. That I'm not sure of. But at the end of the day, I think they would be more apt to figure it out than I would or you would. They're the ones that get paid to make those decisions, whether it be Tom Dundon, Don Waddell, Centennial Authority, whoever it is. Those are the folks that, they're the ones in charge of making those decisions. And obviously there's going to be more folks in there, but they're the ones in charge of that. They would be better equipped to make that decision of where do we put this. My only thing is, wherever they put it, it needs to be something where everyone can go see it. Like on the second floor. I wouldn't put it on the second floor, no, because not everyone can go see that. They have the little ushers or whatever there where, if you don't have a ticket on the second floor, you can't go see it. And I wouldn't put it on the third floor because not everybody goes up there. And, it's one of those, it needs to be somewhere where everyone can appreciate it. That's my big thing. Whether it be outside, first floor concourse, or they're like in the actual arena hanging up somewhere, or, on the walls, or whatever it may be, it needs to be somewhere where everyone can appreciate it. And that's my big thing there. And obviously, this is all speculative. I have no word on whether or not they're doing this, and I hope they do, but I think this is really something they should look into. You look at the Flyers. They got one. They have Rod Brind'amour in it. And then this is something that's common throughout sports, not just hockey. You got other teams that have it. So I think that this should be something the Hurricanes do when they're renovating PNC Arena. And speaking of PNC Arena, some news came out yesterday about the naming rights for PNC Arena, and we'll talk about that right after this. If you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And they have a new flavor, delicious, indulgent cookie dough covered in chocolate. That's right, Built has done it again. Cookie dough chunk puffs have a light, chewy texture with real cookie dough chunks, and of course they are covered in 100% real chocolate. All of the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories, and they have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. Run to Built.com to snag a box for you and the whole family. It will be the perfect treat, or you can find a really good hiding place and just hoard them for yourself. Like all Built Bars, the new cookie dough chunk puff is covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they're healthy and tasty. Chocolate covered cookie dough with a light, fluffy texture. What's great about Built is that all of their bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. You're going to love the new cookie dough chunk puff, whether you just need a snack for your workout, a late night treat, or just need to grab a quick bite. Built is the perfect protein bar, and they taste better than a candy bar. Ditch the calories, fat, and sugar and grab yourself a Built Bar. So right now you can go to Built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order when you use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at Built.com. Now, something that I saw last night that really kind of piqued my interest was the naming rights for PNC Arena. We've been talking about the renovations that are being done, throughout this offseason. We talked about it a lot today, and that's something that's coming up. PNC Bank's naming rights end at the end of this month. So that is going to be really interesting. Don Waddell said that they're obviously in contact with PNC Bank about continuing this. They're looking for like a 7-year deal for the naming rights, but I believe there is 5 others, including PNC, that are potential suitors for naming rights for the building. And this is going to be really interesting because, obviously arenas change names all the time, when it comes to naming rights stuff. You look at Heinz Field, just got renamed. You had Staples Center get renamed. And so it's not uncommon, of course. Heck, PNC Arena has been renamed before. It used to be RBC Center. Before that, it was Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena. So it's not something that hasn't happened before. But I think what makes this interesting is the fact that the Hurricanes are good now. They're good. And, this isn't, when it got named PNC Arena, where the Hurricanes weren't very good. The cost is going to go way, way up. Because, now you have your team, being good. And, you also look over to the basketball side of things. NC State men's basketball, they're on the rise there. And, they're looking to make improvements and whatnot. They're obviously still rebuilding and still getting better, and they're not there yet, but they're another team that is making improvements and getting better. Obviously the Hurricanes are the bigger name of course, and they're going to be the ones that really drive up the price. So, and they're I guess you would say, main occupant, because it's more Hurricane stuff there than NC State stuff. But it's going to be interesting because, again, the team is way better than they were the last time. So the cost is going to go way, way up. And you kind of wonder, will PNC be able to meet whatever the cost is? I think, term-wise, I don't think that'd be a problem. They've already been the naming rights holder for a long time as is, so that's not really going to be a problem. They've been it for, at least a decade now, so I don't see that being the problem. But the cost, it's going to be a lot. And that is what is interesting. And as far as other potential suitors go, that is one that I really haven't seen anything as far as any others. Obviously, people want Bojangles or Raising Cane's, or they want stuff like that would be fun for the locals and whatnot. But ultimately, I don't see anything like that happening. I really don't. And at the end of the day, it's going to come out to the highest bidder. Whether it be PNC, whether it be state employees, credit union, or whatever it may be. I think, you look at a lot of the other sports arenas and stadiums, it'll probably be a bank at the end of the day. I think that will be what it ends up being, a bank of some sort. And it'll be interesting to see where this goes as far as the naming rights holder goes. Because, again, I've said it multiple times already, the team is good now. That's going to drive the cost way, way up. And will PNC Bank be able to meet that? I'd like to think so. Because, again, the team is a lot better now. And then, okay, you're going to be associated with a good team rather than a crap team. So I would think that would be good. But, again, cost is going to be way, way up. You look at the renovations. This was something that was supposed to get started 2-3 years ago, and it's just now getting started. So because the cost has gone way, way up. Obviously, pandemic had a big effect on that. But yeah, that got way more expensive. That more than doubled in cost. So it'll be really interesting to see where things go. At the end of the day, I think it'll probably stay PNC Arena. I personally do. I think they're really going to try to keep that. But you look at some of these other ones like Heinz Field and Staples Center, you really thought those were shoo-ins to stay. But now they're called something different. You got Crypto.com Arena and whatever Heinz Field is called now. So it's obviously not a guarantee. We've seen stuff change that you never thought would change. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll obviously talk more about that as time goes on. And, we mentioned it throughout the episode. The Hurricanes are entering their 25th season. We talked about guys that be in the Ring of Honor. But what exactly would the Hurricanes' 25th anniversary team look like? We'll discuss that in the next episode of Locked On Hurricanes. So make sure you are following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes, and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And I will talk to you in the next episode.